Greetings folks, and I hope you're happy and healthy wherever you are in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for something a little bit different. So, regulars of the channel will know we often do best of and showcase videos, but a shout out to subscriber Steve, who suggested we do a worst of video. A video where we highlight the car crash 1/6 scale figures in the collection. You know, the ones from the bottom shelf or that never quite make it out of the box into the display because they've been made with little or no passion and attention to detail. Yes folks, it's time for a roundup of the stinkers, of the fails and the outright cash grabs. But before we dive into this shameless cesspool of ineptitude, I'd like to send the usual shout out to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like on this video as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the 1/6 scale news, views and reviews that we've got coming up. So this torrent of hot garbage is going to come at you in no particular order, apart from the last figure, which is head and shoulders below the rest in overall crappiness. And before you start clattering that keyboard, please remember, this is just my opinion. You may love these figures and that's fine. After all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, without further ado, strap yourselves into your seat for the express train ride to Shitsville. And if you experience any nausea on the way, please remember, it's all Steve's fault. Okay folks, so first figure under the microscope is Fishbones' take on Dustin Hoffman from Rain Man. No, it's not, no. It's meant to be Al Pacino as Michael Corleone from The Godfather in the beige suit from the Miami sequences in the movie. Regulars to the channel will know my love of all things Pacino, and when I found out that this figure was being made, I sort of decided to stick my toes in the water. Regulars to the channel will also know that all these figures that are appearing today have been reviewed on the channel, so if you like inflicting pain upon yourselves, please check out the full review. And if you wanted to see in even more excruciating detail these figures, I rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way when I reviewed this figure, a lot of Fishbones fans, and I'm going to do it again, so I make no apologies, so watch out, tune out now Fishbones fans. But yeah, I've included the accessories with this particular figure as well, pretty much because they're about the only decent thing that comes with them. But yeah, we'll take a look at those in a moment. Let's move those to one side for the time being and take a look at the figure. I'm using both hands here because there are some things I need to demonstrate that I can't do with one hand. So the figure itself, let's start with let's start with the shoes as we always do. Not bad actually. Sculpted plastic, nowhere near screen accurate, but they're okay. No socks or anything going on here. The suit itself is the wrong colour and the wrong material. This is a cream colour. The suit that Al Pacino wore in the film was a beige colour. Now, you may think I'm splitting hairs there, but there is a dramatic difference if you actually revisit the film and take a look at it. Now, I'm going to get this out of the way as well. Price point is going to come into this because I hear you all shouting, well, hang on, Fishbones, they're at a price point you don't expect to get Hot Toys or in art quality, but you do expect to get a certain amount of quality in there, and yeah, price point has been taken into consideration when picking these figures, but yeah, we'll cover that at the end when we round it up. Yeah, so the suit not particularly good. The cotton is super cheap material, doesn't fall very well, it's prone to these nasty creases. The stitch work's okay on the jacket, it's pretty well done. There are no loose threads hanging down or anything like that. It just feels super cheap, and it looks super cheap on the figure. It falls badly, it creases, and it just looks, yeah, looks like what it is. It's a cheap, inaccurate suit. The shirt underneath is done pretty well, but is not screen accurate either. The tie is completely wrong because he never wore a tie like this with this suit. It was always a cravat, so that's been completely missed out. The body itself, it's pretty poor. There's literally no movement at the top of the legs here, and because of the way that this figure has been made, without any movement at the top of the legs, there is no you can do get a little bit of movement out sort of that way. There is no forward or backward movement, and because they've been set into the body wrong, when you attempt to bend the legs, this is what happens. So you get that sort of That's a sort of interesting falling look. Looks like he should be, yeah, lying down, recovering. Yeah, just not good. The body is pretty appalling. The articulation in the upper body is a little bit better. There's some waist twist there, and there is a bit of an ab crunch, but overall, yeah, these legs are comical. They really are, and you know, getting any kind of pose out of this figure is pretty much off the cards because of these legs. The head sculpt. Let's take a quick look at that. Oh, one thing worth mentioning as well, which is really interesting. The Fishbones put magnets in the feet here. Well, I don't know whether these are magnets or whether they took these to make the figure more stable. There's no stand included with this figure. If there was a magnetic stand, that would go some way to explaining these if they are magnets. If they're just weights to give it support because there's no stand included, that would sort of make sense, so make it more stable on his pins. But yeah, seems a little bit odd there. Let's take a look at this head sculpt now. Let's just lift this camera up a little bit. When I reviewed this figure, it literally went straight back in the box at the end of the review and hasn't been out since. This is the first time I've seen it since the review, and I'm still not awfully impressed with that fixed neck head sculpt. Number one, that neck belongs on a giraffe and not on a human being. Literally, the length of his neck is almost the same length as his face, which is just ludicrous. Fortunately, that's you can push that shirt up with that tie just to cover it up a little bit. But yeah, as I mentioned at the top there, this is if you're looking for a figure of Dustin Hoffman, this is a fantastic piece. It really is. If you're after a Michael Corleone, you're shit out of luck, really. The paint applications, I suppose, are okay. Sculpt is just off completely. I suspect somebody did not do their homework here. The paint applications are okay. On top of that appalling sculpt, there's some attempt at skin texturing there. There's a 5 o'clock shadow, which is completely inaccurate because Michael Corleone never had a 5 o'clock shadow. He looked after his appearance. The eyes are not very good. They're completely matte with the wrong colour, completely the wrong colour. The hair is probably about the only saving grace on this figure, in as much as it's the right style and the right colour and there are individual strands picked out. But yeah, overall, not good. The whole proportions thing with this suit and the shoulders, the body is super thin, so it just doesn't look right. You have to, if you're wanting to get anything like Pacino's performance appearance, you need to force these shoulders down. But when you force those shoulders down, they accentuate that ridiculously long neck even more. So yeah, what can I say? We all make mistakes, and this is one of mine. Mention the accessories, actually, the saving grace with the accessories. And as we often see with these third-party unlicensed figures, you get some very odd choices in the accessories. You get this table, which is all metal, which weighs an absolute ton. Ridiculously heavy metal table. I suppose what Fishbones were trying to do here was emulate the accessories that came with the Godfather figures from companies like Damn Toys and so on. But yeah, super heavy. It could be used for another much better figure. So yeah, I quite like it actually. Might come in handy, although it's been sat in the box with the figure. You get multiple brandy and whiskey bottles. You get a Russian newspaper because obviously Michael Corleone was Russian. Whoever thought he was Italian was having a giraffe. So yeah, you get a full metal telephone, not a full metal jacket, a full metal telephone for some strange reason. These accessories, like I say, from third-party companies where they go all metal, I suspect where they're manufactured there is a surplus of metal. So you get that as well. And you also get this chair, which is which once again, I mean, this has a metal base, but fortunately the top of it's plastic, or the whole thing would weigh an absolute ton. And once again, it looks like an attempt to copy the chair that came with the Damn Toys Don Vito figure, and not a bad job they've made of it here. Actually, the paint applications are good. The sculpted plastic on the back here is okay to replicate leather, and actually overall not a bad chair. So the table and the chair could be used for something. However, the less said about this figure the better. So yeah, he'll be going straight back in the box. I couldn't even bring myself to sell this figure on. I couldn't bring myself to inflict it on somebody else. So there you have it, folks. First up to bat was Fishbones, and trust me, it only gets worse. Okay folks, so the Shit Shows Express's next stop is Sideshow Collectibles' take on Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Sideshow were always going to make an appearance in this list. It was just which figure it was going to be. We will take a quick look at him. I am using both hands here because I need to demonstrate some of the interesting features regarding this particular figure, but we will start with the base. It's the usual story. It's that Sideshow hexagonal plastic base. Regulars to the channel will know my feelings about this base, and it really is time. It's overdue that Sideshow dragged themselves into 2025 out of the 1990s and started giving us something a little bit different to this dull plastic base with a barely readable logo across the middle there. But the figure, well, where to begin? Let's get him off this stand. This is an interesting one. The main issues here are the body. Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. This body is appalling. Now I've got him in a bit of a pose here, but welcome to Jankiness Central. This body really is something that would be befitting a figure that's a third the price. And this is the main issue I have with this figure, is the price point that this thing comes in at, as with most Sideshow figures. But yeah, straight away, let's take a look at the boots. Sculpted plastic boots. They're not too bad actually. I've seen a lot worse, could do with a lot more weathering. But the sculpt's okay, the paint applications are pretty good, no socks here. Then you get up to these pants, which are the wrong colour. The material is that sort of cheap cotton that we associated around that time with Sideshow. The stitch work's not bad. There's no loose threads or anything like that. The 6-scale stitch work stands up to close scrutiny. But on the whole, the colour's wrong, the fall's wrong, it creases in the wrong places, and it's very, very basic. That's one of the issues here. The jumper itself, the sweater, the Freddy sweater, wrong colours. The material isn't that good. It's okay, but it's not the best material I've ever come across, and the sort of effects attaching at the ends of the sleeves and around the hemline there is basic to say the least, but colours off completely. Let's talk about the body. The main issue straight out of the box, and this isn't just me, I know that this figure was the same for a lot of collectors, is just jankiness here. This comes across as possibly one of the cheapest bodies I've ever come across in any figure. And as we mentioned there, price point is always going to figure in these choices on the channel. Sideshow figures do not come in cheap. They are costly and they aim at the high-end market, and this just isn't high-end. But yeah, knees super loose. I mean, ridiculously loose knees here, although they are sort of holding up ever so slightly. Just one touch with the finger and they will just collapse. The waist is even worse. I mean, literally, as you can see, you shake this figure, the top of the legs are just so ridiculously loose, it's untrue. The waist is even looser, and he has a tendency to just slowly over time creak over backwards like this, or forwards, depending on what pose you've got him in. So yeah, arms a little bit better at the shoulders there, and the elbows are okay, if somewhat loose as well. But overall, the whole thing is just super janky. The body feels ridiculously cheap, and at this price point, it is unforgivable. Accessories, little to no accessories. You get that dull, boring base, and you get one swap out hand, and that is it. For a figure at this price point, to have only those accessories is unforgivable. And I suppose the saving grace is this is the swap out hand. The blades in the swap out hands are metal, so that's okay, I suppose. And the gloves sculpted pretty well, although it needs more weathering. There's some attempt at blood effects on those metal blades, but overall, that's your lot. Let's get to the head sculpt now. The head sculpt itself is not too bad in my opinion. It's okay. But those paint applications really do look like some ultra low budget third party, in my opinion.
There's nowhere near enough gore, redness in those exposed fleshy parts underneath the burnt flesh. It's just basic paint applications. The teeth are pretty well done. The eyes are not glassy enough. They are not detailed enough. And overall, yeah, it's the paint applications rather than the sculpt on this head sculpt that let it down. The hat. Where should we go with the hat? It's the wrong colour. It's one piece of sculpted plastic, and it's non-removable. I mean, they don't even give us a swap-out head sculpt with no hat on it, which is, once again, it's unforgivable at this price point. So yeah, just comes off as super cheap, super janky, super annoying, and yeah, it is not Sideshow's finest hour, let's put it that way. And in full fairness, I think Sideshow have upped their game recently. Their recent Beetlejuice figure, their recent Pennywise, the 1990 Pennywise, the Tim Curry Pennywise, are absolutely spot on, apart from those bases, in my opinion. And the Pennywise, the 1990 Pennywise, could be up for Figure of the Year for me. It's that good. So yeah, they have upped their game recently. Whether they maintain that is anybody's guess, but on the whole, yeah, this is a shameful example of what a high-end 1/6 scale figure should be. So there you have it, folks. That is the shit show. That is Sideshow's take on Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Moving swiftly on. So next up for your consideration is the VTS Toys take on Max Rockansky from George Miller's Mad Max Fury Road. Unlicensed figure, this one. And I will say from the get-go, I do have a lot of time for VTS. I think they produce some excellent figures. Their Ghost of Tsushima, their Carl Urban, Judge Dredd, great figures, love them. This just is not one of their best figures. It's pretty appalling, but we will start at the bottom and work our way up as we always do. Third-party figures, so relatively simple base here. This sand-coloured black plastic base. It says Wasteland Ranger across the front there. Let's talk about the good stuff. That will be pretty quick. Proportions are right. I think the proportions on this figure are better than the proportions on the recent Present Toys release. I think they've captured that chunkiness of Tom Hardy, the height, the bulkiness is there. And that's pretty much where the good stuff ends, apart from the accessories are quite well done, and the outfit in places is quite well done. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Now, I got this figure brand new, and it came out of the box like this. It literally didn't get from the manufacturer to my front door without this pleather falling apart. It's got to be some of the cheapest pleather I have ever come across. Pretty appalling, and this is how it came out of the box. It's never really been displayed, this figure. So this isn't how it aged. This literally is how it was originally, although it is leaving a mushroom-sized cloud of black dust behind it wherever it goes. Yeah, ultra cheap pleather in its favour. Let's take a look at the bottom here. The sculpted boots, pretty nicely done, decent weathering there, and parts of this outfit, I've got to say, are very good. The detailing on the caliper, the weathering, the detailing on the vest with the canvas pockets with the real metal bullets and grenades and magazines are all nicely done. I will carefully turn this round. Actually, I don't know why I'm being careful with it, so I'm not saving it for anything. The canvas backpack, nicely weathered. The whole vest arrangement is an utter ball ache to try and get on. It all comes in individual pieces and takes hours to put together. Yeah, it's although it does look okay, it's still an utter nightmare. And talking of that weathering, I mean, this is where you see the inconsistencies here. The hand is really nicely weathered, and then you've got this three-quarter shirt on, which is screen accurate, and then no weathering on the body underneath. Something I would normally do myself when I get a figure, but why bother with this one? It's never going to get displayed. But yeah, that pleather is truly appalling, and it's just, I'm getting covered in black pleather dust here. Let's take a look at that head sculpt, and this is, next to the pleather, this is the other major offence that I have with this figure, is this head sculpt. Now, I am not sure who that is. It most certainly isn't Tom Hardy. Could be his second cousin, twice removed, but yeah. This head sculpt makes the recent Present Toys release look excellent, and Hot Toys standards. it just doesn't even bear any resemblance to Tom Hardy, in my opinion. It's not even close. Maybe the lips are a little bit on point, and maybe the eyes are close, but no, it just doesn't work. Not from any angle there. Occasionally you get the slightest hint that it might be Tom Hardy. If you squint your eyes, hold it at a distance at one particular angle. But overall, yeah, appalling head sculpt there. And the biggest bugbear I have with this figure is the cheapness of the pleather. And VTS Toys don't come in at a super cheap price point either. So there's no real excuse for this. Literally out of the box falling apart, but there you have it. Yeah, the wasteland has not been kind to Max, if it is actually Max. So yeah, moving swiftly on. Okay folks, so it's time for our penultimate pile of hot garbage, and it's Sideshow's second appearance in this video. I will repeat, Sideshow do seem to be pulling themselves out of a very, very early rut, shall we say. But yeah, what we've got here is their take on Roddy McDowall as Cornelius from the classic science fictioner Planet of the Apes. Where to start with this figure? At a distance, it looks like they've made a really good job of this figure. It's not until you get sort of within striking distance that you realise that there are some issues here. This isn't the base that this figure came with. I popped him straight onto the Freddy base here because I couldn't locate the original base. I don't display this figure, so I have no idea where the base is, but I am pretty certain it's the usual story of the black hexagonal base with the unreadable logo across the front of it. Let's get him off this stand, if he will actually stay in one piece when we lift him off this stand and have a close-up look at him. Now, as I say, from a distance, the proportions look really good. That outfit is really nicely done. It's screen accurate. I'm liking the colours there. I'm liking the detailing in the arms here with these sort of patchwork effect things going on, and the same on the on this section of the front here, which is screen accurate. The stitch work is okay as well. It's not the best I've seen. It's a little on the large side, but it's pretty good. Well, let's talk about the positives. The sculpted in hair on the hands there is nice to see. It's on the fingers as well. It's not the best paint applications I've seen. And that head sculpt, the head sculpt is pretty good for its age on this figure, I think. It's most certainly hair caught in there. It most certainly is Cornelius. It's most certainly Roddy McDowall. The paint applications let it down. The sculpt is a relatively simple one, let's face it, but it's difficult to get this wrong. But it's the paint applications really on this head sculpt that are off for me. That hair is very basic, no real individual strands picked out. They put some highlights in there which sort of give it that more hair-like quality. And yeah, a bit matte on that face, that jaw, and the eyes look like a Barbie doll from the mid-90s, but there's no life in them, and they just haven't got any glass or sheen to them at all. It's on a ball joint, this head, so there's a decent amount of movement, but it feels like it's on a piece of elastic, and this is what happens with this figure. It's just, you can't pose the head, because every time you try and put him in a position, it just snaps back to where it was originally. Don't know why that is. I've never had this head off, but yeah. And therein lies the major issue with this figure. You thought that the Freddy Krueger figure was janky. This takes cheap bodies to a whole new level. And as we mentioned before, Sideshow don't come in. They're not cheap, these figures. So where they were getting their sourcing their bodies from, I do not know. But they need to reappraise that situation. As I say, whole new level of jankiness. This one. I mean, this is just wonderful. Let's start with the feet. Yeah, I mean that foot literally will spin round on its own. This one is slightly better, but as you can see, knee joints absolutely useless. The hip joints are so loose, it is beyond belief. It can barely stand up. This is I'm lost for words. I really am. It suffers with that leg out at a jaunty angle. That foot is just hilarious. Once again, you bend these knees and they just don't go back. They go off at some strange skydiving angle, which I'm yet to understand. As you can see there, the legs just wobble. The whole thing is, I mean, this chest section is just so loose, it's unbelievable. The arms are, yeah, This is what is going on here. This is appalling. This really is next level. Poor body here, it really is. I've had this figure some time. It came out of the box this way. It's not as though it's been put in ridiculously dynamic poses or has had chance to loosen over the years. It literally brand new came out of the box this way and didn't endear me to Sideshow. And I've got to say, that is probably one of the most comical head situations I've ever seen, where it just snaps back. I think there's a rubber band under there or something. Yeah. So what is a semi-decent outfit and a semi-decent head sculpt is lost in the elasticated head sculpt and a body that I wouldn't give you £2 English for. So there you have it, folks. That is Sideshow's disaster that is Cornelius from Planet of the Apes. So it's time for the final figure. Who will win that coveted award of the shittiest figure in the room? So the final figure and the golden crowning turd in the water pipe award goes to none other than Y Studios' take on Leatherface. Regulars to the channel will have seen my review for this, no doubt, and will know the loathing which I have for this particular figure. Where to begin with this utter train wreck? Let's start with the base, the only decent thing to come out of the box, and it's actually not a half bad base here. It's nice and solid. It's got a felt pad, a huge felt pad underneath, which covers the entire base itself, so that's nicely done. And you've got these sort of sculpted wooden effect floorboards on the top with this added gore and blood, and I use this for a number of different horror figures which didn't come, decent ones that didn't come with a stand. So the stand, yeah, gets a thumbs up, and that's it. Everything else from now on is downhill, and downhill fast. Let's get him off this stand and have a look. I mean, first of all, proportions are wrong here, completely wrong from Gunnar Hansen. It looks nothing like him. He was stockier around the midriff here. The arms are stick thin on this figure, and then have been padded out at the top. But we'll get to all the bad stuff. Let's get him off this stand, and let's get this hammer out of his hand. We'll get to the accessories. They are a thing to behold. They really are. Yeah, sculpted in shoes stroke boots, not too bad. Seen worse, bit of weathering on there. These trousers, these pants, absolutely appalling. The stitch work isn't too bad, and that's the only saving grace. The colour's wrong. They have been cut with what looks like a pair of janky scissors at the bottom here to make them look weathered. There's some tread on the shoes there, which I suppose is some saving grace. Moving up, wired apron, which is nice, but that's like sort of that's like putting a, well, I'm not going to say what I was thinking there. This will get a strike. But yeah, the apron looks like it's been badly spattered. It doesn't even look like blood effect on there. It just looks like someone's thrown some very diluted orange paint at this thing. Once again, the stitch work's not bad on there, but overall it's pretty appalling. The body, now, not janky this body, but I mean, what I think Y Studios have done here is they've taken the standard body, a thin body, and then they've literally padded it everywhere, but they've not even padded that correctly. It's not even been padded to Gunnar Hansen's proportions. Yeah, and the padding stops at the on this t-shirt here, on this shirt underneath, and you can see the level of love and attention to detail that's gone into this blood effect paintwork. And it's really interesting that the paintwork on here, it varies from blood red to house painting red to purple. Most of it's actually purple, and as we all know, you know, we all have purple blood. But you can even see the brushstrokes on this forearm. It's appalling. It really is. And as I say, the proportions here are shown as being completely wrong. But then you've got all this ridiculous padding going on all over the rest of, on top of this super cheap body. The shirt itself is not screen accurate, although the stitch work's pretty good. Once again, that purple paint, it looks like someone's just got a brush here and gone, yeah, let's just go like this. Yeah, that'll make it look like it's blood spattered and weathered. You can even see where the brush has been rubbed down and across. It's that cursory, wrong colour and badly applied. Saving grace, I suppose, is you've got this metal sort of wristband thing going on, which is sort of screen accurate. Oh, yeah. I despair with this figure. It actually pains me to bring it out and actually film it again. The head sculpt, for some odd reason known only to Y Studios, and the aptly named Y Studios, because I would say why. They've done the skin face mask in metal. Now, I've reattached this with some crazy glue, but straight out of the box, it was so heavy it just fell off and was hanging down and looked ridiculous. This rooted hair, well, I'm not going to call it rooted hair, it's stuck on hair, is super cheap, feels like something off a very, very cheap Cindy or Barbie doll, and it just doesn't want to do anything. I suppose it sort of, his hair was messy anyway, so you can sort of get away with that, but it just feels like what it is, super cheap and nasty. When the face mask falls off, comedy face underneath, that's probably the only laugh you're going to get with this figure. And not the cheapest figure in the world either. Articulation, I suppose, is limited because of that ridiculous amount of padding he's got underneath there. It's not the most dynamic of figures, but there's some movement going on here. But overall, yeah, this is, you know, we often see advertised figures saying coming from a smoke and pet-free home, but, you know, I don't think even a dog would play with this. You throw it, play fetch, he's going to look at you gone out. Utter train wreck. This tie just feels like really, really cheap plastic. There's been an attempt at some blood spatter on there. Let's get him back on the stand. But the fun and games don't end here with the figure. You've got some of the most hilarious accessories, and I've got to bring these out just so you can see. You get a severed head. Now, judging by that head sculpt under there, they've found an old head sculpt and they've stuck some really cheap hair on it, then painted it purple. And the screen accuracy, well, you know, I know this film quite well, seen it a few times, and I don't remember seeing any severed heads. You also get this oversized metal bucket covered in purple paint with another random head sculpt thrown in there. And yet again, why? Why? Let's put those to one side. You also get this this chainsaw, once again, furiously dabbed with purple paint all over. Although the actual sculpting on the weathering on the body of the chainsaw is pretty good. They've even stuck some of that lovely cheap hair from one of the head sculpts to the end here. I don't ever remember him chainsawing somebody's head off. This is a fever dream, a nightmare. This is something somebody got up to as a pet project, and for some strange reason it got greenlit. The hammer, full metal, ridiculously heavy. Why? Really? It's not screen accurate. Why make it metal? Why not make it screen accurate? Blood paint applications on there which are lost in the ugliness of the metal itself. I suppose a saving grace is that the knives that he comes with are all metal, but the paint applications here are really like something that a 3-year-old has done on a Sunday afternoon. The paint bleed all over the place, covered in that purple paint, and yeah, just shocking. And you even get a severed lower leg covered in purple paint. Yeah. There you have it, folks. That is just hilarious. It's not even worthy of being on the shit list, really. But it's made it to the top because it's everything that's bad in 1/6 scale figure making, licensed or unlicensed. It is an awful cash grab. It's horrendous, it's horrible, it's a nightmare, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Avoid like the plague. So there you have it, folks. That is the winner, if there is one in this video, of the biggest turd. And it goes to Y Studios' attempt at Leatherface. I hope you've enjoyed this bit of fun. Please drop a comment in the comment section below if you've felt my pain in this video. I have plenty more bits of crap lying around if you're wanting to see them in 6 scale. I don't think much is going to top this one though. But yeah, please drop a like on this video and a comment. What are your take on this? Because am I getting it completely wrong? Am I looking at some hidden gems rather than some hidden turds? Let me know in the comment section below. What's coming up on the channel? Well, we have a raft of new figures coming in, 1/6 scale figures from Hot Toys, from Present Toys, Susu Toys, from Iconic Studios, Caustic Plastic, Exo6, to name but a few. So be sure to hit that bell notification icon and subscribe button so you're not missing anything. And we have one very, very special piece on its way to us. It should be going up for review in the next day or two. It's a new release from Hot Toys. It's something that's highly anticipated. I don't want to give too much away here, but stay tuned for that. It is very much looming on the horizon. And I suppose all it remains for me to say is, from the worst of the 6 scale world, a massive thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time on the channel, happy collecting.